Welcome to the 12th episode of the Three Sportsmen Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kurt.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Trey.
And in this episode, we are going to be talking about NFL signings, trade ideas, and the NBA restart. But first, we really appreciate it if you check out our channel, subscribe, listen to our other episodes, and then follow us on social media on Twitter.
At Podcast T3S.
And on Instagram.
At T3S Podcast.
We really appreciate any support. So, yeah, let's get into this with some news that broke only a couple hours after we recorded last week's episode. Cam Newton signed with the New England Patriots. Sam, what do you think of this?
I like it. I like it a lot. Bill Belichick went out and got himself a former MVP quarterback. I mean, what else can you ask for? He's one of the greatest coaches of all time, so he's going to be able to do something good with him.
Trey?
I mean, I think Cam's past his prime, but I mean, he could not have found a more perfect spot in New England. As you said, Bill Belichick's one of the best coaches ever. So I think it'll work out for the most part as long as he stays healthy.
I think he's going to add a lot of creativity to that New England offense because even with Brady, you couldn't really extend the play because, well, he isn't a mobile quarterback. With Cam Newton, Josh McDaniels is going to be able to do a lot more. And we saw with that, was that one or two games with Jacoby Brissett, that he can do a lot with a mobile quarterback.
Better than Jarrett Stidham. Or Stinnett, whatever. However you
Jarrett
say it.
Stidham.
Yeah.
How do you think this impacts New England's chances at playoffs and maybe even the Super Bowl?
I think it's really, really good because he's Bill Belichick is setting him up with an amazing receiving core. I mean, not amazing, but I mean, it's still really, really solid.
I mean, Julian Edelman is great.
Edelman, N'Keal Harry too.
N'Keal Harry.
Yep. I don't
As
think
long
they'll
as
win
he
the
stays
division.
healthy.
I
I
still
think
like
they could get a
Buffalo
wild
over
card.
there.
I like Buffalo a lot. They could make a wild card.
Yeah,
Buffalo?
I can see them as a wild card team.
No, Buffalo's
New
winning the
England.
division.
New
I
England.
think.
Buffalo's winning the division, no
Yeah,
question.
I still have Buffalo winning the division. I still think the offense could use a couple more weapons. Tight end is still a need. Receiver depth, I think, is pretty good. I like the running back core that they have.
Who is it? Is it White still?
Yeah, Sony Michel and James White.
Yeah,
And
that's exact.
Solid.
Yeah, it's Sony Michel. That's right.
Do they still have Rex Burkhead? Because when he played, he was actually pretty good. Yeah, they still have Rex Burkhead.
They do.
They like to use their running backs too.
I really like New England's chances now. Their defense is still really solid. O-line is great. I think
The only
this
question
could be,
is Cam healthy? Is Cam healthy? That's the only question I think there is.
I don't think Belichick would take the risk. I don't think Belichick would take the risk on an unhealthy Cam Newton. I think he's at least 80%, I think.
Bill Belichick is cackling in his kitchen right now.
How did he last till March? That's what I want to know. Like, what held him back? Or no, not March. Whatever, June.
Cam?
Like, why didn't he sign in March? That's what I meant. Yeah.
I think teams were afraid of the health concerns.
It's true.
Plus, most of the teams that were reportedly interested didn't really need quarterbacks after the draft, mainly the LA Chargers.
Oh my god!
I still think I'd rather have Cam as a Charger than Tyrod Taylor and Herbert.
I don't think Cam Newton should have went to the Chargers.
No,
Just
Cam's
like I
in his
said
best spot.
I said last video, I think Herbert's going to be better than Tua.
Never know.
We'll see about that. I'm not sold on Herbert yet, but he could surprise.
I
I
am.
hope he surprises me.
Like, he had a few games where he struggled, like Arizona State. He struggled, but that wasn't really
Arizona
his
State
fault.
and Cal,
It
he
was mostly
was
the
awful.
defense's fault. Because Brandon Ayuk absolutely torched Oregon's defense.
No, but he made some horrible throws. You can't say a receiver on the other team made the quarterback play bad.
I actually have a funny story about that game, about the Oregon Arizona State game. That was the night I was getting followed by some dude. It was like 9:30. It was after hockey practice, and I was kind of like, okay. And some dude followed me all the way home, and I was like, hold up, this is hella sketch. Like, it was weird. And he like drove around my neighborhood like 3 times, and I was like, what the
How does that relate to Oregon and Arizona State?
Because when I got home from getting chased, I watched Arizona State and Oregon.
Okay.
Please don't cut that out.
Story time with Sam.
Story time with Sam.
Yeah, story time.
Earlier this week, an NFL player requested a trade. David Njoku wants out of Cleveland.
Good. Well, I wouldn't want to be in Cleveland either, buddy.
I mean, their offense is set up pretty nice.
He fits the Stefanski offense. They ran a lot of 2 tight ends up in Minnesota last year with Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith.
He's not going to Minnesota. He's not going to Minnesota.
Oh, I never said he was. I'm just saying Stefanski was our offensive coordinator last year, and he's now the head coach of Cleveland. I think he's going to keep the same scheme, or most of it. They're going to be a run-first team with 2 star receivers and 2 tight ends on the field most of the time.
Baker needs to get it together because that could be a good offense.
Baker needs to be more of a game manager. They need to rely on Nick Chubb a lot more, I think, to be successful. Make Nick Chubb their down basically. But there are a lot of teams that seemingly could be interested in trading for David Njoku. I've seen on Twitter some people saying Buffalo to team him up with Dawson Knox at tight end.
That would be really, really good. Holy cow.
Yeah, it would be.
It's just another threat for Josh Allen, dude. It would match the Patriots Cam Newton. So it would show that Buffalo's not afraid of making big moves either.
I've seen some people say New England as an attempt to replace Gronk.
I like Buffalo better.
Of course, I like Buffalo more than New England because, well, it's New England. But if the asking price is only a 4th or 5th, which seemingly that's what other teams are considering for Njoku at this time.
That's a steal. Njoku's a great young player.
He's injury prone, though. I think that's one of the main issues.
Oh, that guy's a solid player.
Last year, he only played in 4 games, 5 receptions for 41 yards and 1 touchdown.
I just remember, didn't he have a good season at some point, or am I imagining that?
No,
he did have a good season.
He's been solid. Yeah, 2018.
I think if he stays healthy, he can be a really, really good player.
Yeah, 2018, he played 16 games, started 14 of those, had 56 receptions for 639 yards and 4 touchdowns.
He can be a good player, man. I'm telling you.
Seemingly, he wants to be the number 1 tight end as well, which he currently isn't because of Austin Hooper, who I think is a great player.
Yeah, Austin Hooper is good.
The one trade scenario that I thought of, it might be, or not might be, it is crazy. But I think it would make sense for both sides. There is a big star player, one of the best defensive players in the league, who wants out of their current situation.
Jamal Adams for David Njoku.
Njoku and picks for Jamal Adams.
That would
I
be
don't think
interesting.
I don't think Jamal Adams wants to go to Cleveland. I think he
It
would
wasn't-
beef with Odell.
It wasn't on his list of 7 teams that he gave as to where he would like to go, ideally.
If he goes to Cleveland, he's wasting his career.
And I know they drafted Delpit in the second. I think they could potentially move him over to free safety.
Delpit's good too.
Yeah, and
That's a hard
they're both
hitter.
LSU guys.
Delpit's highly underrated. Like, he is really
know.
underrated.
I still think
Yeah, he's really good.
I still think Antoine Winfield is the best safety from this class, but Delpit is a very close second.
Yeah, they were both really good.
I watched Delpit, and then I did Winfield. So of course I'm gonna have a little bit of bias, but it's the way and how explosive Delpit was. I think he's the best safety in this draft.
Delpit was really explosive. I like Winfield because he's just a pure ball. The interceptions, some of those interceptions were crazy. He's a good return man, solid speed, great instincts. If he was, the only complaint you can legitimately have about Antoine Winfield Jr. is that he's slightly undersized for safety.
That's why I like Delpit more, because he's taller.
If Winfield was slightly taller, though, I think he would be consensus number 1.
That's true. I can agree with that.
But I
They're
think
both going to be good, I think.
I think a Jamal Adams.
And give it 2 years. Give it 2 years. 2 years. You're going to have a star safety coming out of Notre Dame. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Do we got some bias?
2 years. No,
We'll see.
we do not have bias. There is no bias in this.
We'll see.
Look him up. Kyle Hamilton. Look him up.
Time will tell.
But I
Look him
think
up.
a
Sophomore
Jamal Adams
safety.
trade to Cleveland, number one, that defense would just be scary with him, Delpit, Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Myles Garrett.
I don't know. I think he would beef with Odell Beckham Jr.
If they could sort it out, though, that could be a good team.
I legitimately think Njoku, a first and either a second or a third. Because Cleveland has 2/3 in this.
I don't think the Jets are going to give him up easy, though.
They shouldn't. I think they should keep him. But if they are going to trade him, that would be a deal I'm not surprised by. And it benefits
That's not
the Jets.
terrible. That's not terrible. I mean, you get a
benefits the
young
Jets,
tight
too.
end. Yeah.
Because Sam Darnold needs protection. He needs weapons. The Jets' 2 main priorities are, number 1, keep Jamal Adams happy. Number 2, help Sam Darnold in any way you possibly can. And this does that for Sam Darnold.
I mean, not terrible. I mean, if you get a first, third, and a Njoku, that's not terrible.
And I mean, the third could easily be like a second or something like that. Just instead of a third, give him a second.
Yeah.
Or give him another first if that's what it takes, because I think he's certainly a player worth 2 firsts.
Yeah. And Njoku helps. I mean, it's a good piece.
Sam, where do you think Jamal Adams is going to end up if he gets traded?
Not Dallas. In my opinion, I want him to go to Baltimore. I would want him to go to Baltimore.
That's what happened with Earl Thomas. He wanted to go to
I
Dallas
want him in
and ended up
Baltimore.
signing with the Ravens.
I want him in Baltimore.
That defense would be unstoppable.
If he doesn't go
Yeah,
to
it
Baltimore,
would be.
he's an idiot. That is the definition of not wasting his career.
But what if he went to the Niners?
That's true. But
That's true.
he could go to the Niners or the Ravens. Just depends on what side he wants to be on.
I'd also think about the possibility of him and Minka in Pittsburgh.
That would be nasty.
God, that would be filthy.
The two of them, Steven Nelson, who I think is one of the most underrated cornerbacks in the league, Joe Hayden, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward.
Well, people do sleep on Jair Alexander and Kevin King, but
what is that?
Not as much as Steven Nelson. Not as much as Steven Nelson.
that's true. They don't sleep on him as much, but still, they do get slept on. All three of them get slept on.
Speaking of trade rumors involving the New York team and passing it to the NBA, we've got another trade rumor involving Sam's favorite team to talk about,
No.
New York Knicks.
No. Knicks.
No, you love talking about them. You love talking about
You
how
like
much
talking
hate
about them.
Yeah, I do like talking. I like talking about them.
I never said how you liked talking about them. I just said you love talking about the Knicks. I think you hate the Knicks as much as you love the Bulls.
I love the Bulls very, very much.
And you hate the Knicks.
Yes.
So I read this from, I think it was Barstool Sports on Twitter. And I didn't believe it because Barstool, most of the time, anything sports related that they actually post, I just treat as a joke. But I looked into it, and I guess this is a legitimate thing. The Knicks may be trying to get a super team with Damian Lillard and Devin Booker.
What? What? I'm done. I'm out of here. See ya.
How would they even get that, though? Explain to me how they
done.
could trade for that.
I legitimately don't know.
I'm done. See you guys. I'm out. I'm out of here.
So, hold up. Let me pull up Twitter real quick and find
Stop.
where this.
No. There's no explanation for this. It's just, oh my God.
I think Sam would want to see that, too.
No, I would not.
Yeah. So, from at the NBA Central on Twitter.
Yeah, I have a friend, too. I have a friend whose name is Zach Bott. Dude, he's the biggest Damian Lillard fan ever. I think he would probably he would be so pissed. You don't even know.
So, from New York Post, from Mark Berman of NY Post, if scoring point guard Lillard asks for a trade, it's believed the Knicks or Lakers would be his choice.
But how do you choose the Knicks?
How can they afford him?
Why in the world would he trade the Knicks? Why would he go to the Knicks?
And then seemingly from the same source, Devin Booker could emerge as a trade target for the Knicks. Since Leon Rose was hired as president, the player to watch out most is Suns combo guard Devin Booker, according to league sources. Yeah, that's the quote.
Yep, I'm out of here.
I'm just wondering, do you even have enough to give up to get both of them? Because they have nothing on their roster.
You've got RJ, you've got Mitchell Robinson, you've got whatever big contracts you gave to Bobby Portis and Julius Randle.
But even if you just say
they got Bobby Portis.
Even if you say RJ Barrett,
what it's gonna
that's
be?
not enough.
No, you pair RJ with one of the big contracts, and you pair Robinson with one of the big contracts, and throw in like 3 first-round picks, maybe.
So what it's gonna be?
Oh, it's gonna take 5. It's gonna take 5 first-round picks for those guys.
No, I don't think either of them want to leave.
Yeah,
Lillard, I think he's going to play in Portland.
Damian Lillard has a shirt that says "True to Portland."
Yeah, I remember back. I think it was Booker's second year. It was either end of his first year or going into his second year. He talked about how he wanted to be one of those guys who, like, after he's done, he still wants people in the stands to be wearing his jersey like Steve Nash. He wants to be remembered by the team.
Yes, he wouldn't want to go to the Knicks. I don't believe that.
Damian Lillard. I don't. No way. If he does, he's an idiot.
I don't see why either of them would want to leave. Or I see why, like, you'd want out of Phoenix, but Booker, to this point, has shown nothing but loyalty to the team.
He wouldn't want to go to another mess. Like, New York's even worse than Phoenix. Well, I mean, Phoenix has young players, but
they have a solid core with him, Ayton, and Kelly Oubre. The only team that I could see Booker trying to get on is the Minnesota Timberwolves with D'Lo and Cat.
Now that would be
I
interesting.
want him on the Bulls. I think the Bulls should get him. That would be an interesting team.
How?
Bulls should get Devin Booker.
Then you want Zach LaVine out.
You'd have to trade Zach LaVine for him.
That's true, but I don't know. I mean, let's give him Felicio. Give him Felicio.
That's your guy.
He'll come with his goggles.
Trey loves Felicio.
No, I think Kurt wants him on the Raptors.
Trey's favorite player
No,
is
we don't need him.
Cristiano Felicio. Just letting you guys know.
Tim wanted to buy Casio's jersey.
Yeah, for you.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, you definitely want one.
Fine, I'll get you a shirt that says "In Boiling We Trust."
That is. I would burn that. We're having a fire tonight, so I'd probably burn like there. Oh, Trey, guess what?
What?
My Blackhawks masks came in.
Okay.
What does that have to do with the NBA?
It doesn't.
A lot of things. Felt like it was important.
Well, there was some sports news involving Chicago. The NBA said that they're considering the idea of a Chicago bubble for
That's
the non-playoff
stupid.
teams.
Why should we even talk about this? Everybody knows it's stupid. Because even if it does happen, it's Trae Young and Steph Curry balling on everybody.
If they play,
And Zach
even if
LaVine.
they
Zach
play,
LaVine too.
that's
Yeah,
if
exactly.
they play. Like even health side, like if there's no coronavirus, I would still think it's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what if Zach LaVine tears his ACL?
I don't
Exactly.
think you convince star players to play meaningless games regardless, but especially
it's literally just going to be Steph Curry, Trae Young, Zach LaVine versus a bunch of fucking G Leaguers.
And I highly doubt any of those players would be playing though.
you
Exactly.
forgot about the Timberwolves, but I doubt that. I would not expect Cat to play. in
No,
Chicago
Cat.
Bulls.
No way. After the death of his mom, dude, he's probably afraid of this virus.
Rightfully so, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
when it hits that close, they're going to
Killing his
be
mom.
extremely cautious. You're going to care a lot about it. So, I doubt the Timberwolves would at least bring those two guys. I know the Nets have. The Nets are in the actual Orlando bubble, which we're going to be talking about in a minute. But basically, everyone except Joe Harris, who you've actually heard of. Basically, everyone on the Nets who you've actually heard of, except for Joe Harris, and I think Jared Allen, is not competing in Orlando.
They're gearing up for next year. You heard it here first. They're getting a top 4 seed in the East next year. The Nets.
Top 4 seed in the East next year.
Yep. Yes.
Interesting.
KD will come back strong.
KD's not playing in Orlando. Kyrie's not playing in Orlando. That's probably good for both of them.
Yeah.
And then you've got guys like DeAndre Jordan, Spencer Dinwiddie, Wilson Chandler.
Spencer Dinwiddie's probably going to opt out, or did he already?
Of Orlando or of his contract? He's still under contract for 2 years, I think.
Wait, really? I thought he was a free agent coming up. Could be wrong.
No, I think he's a free agent coming up.
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie tested positive for COVID as of June 29th, and he's uncertain about playing in the NBA restart. Let me look up his contract real quick. I want to say he has at least 1 season left.
I wasn't sure. I thought he was gone. I'm not sure. That could be wrong.
Spencer Dinwiddie becomes an unrestricted free agent after the 2021-2022 season.
Oh, really? Does he have any opt-outs?
No, does not look like it.
Oh, I could have sworn he was a free agent. Guess I'm wrong.
Or hold up, he's a 2021 player option. That was my bad.
He probably won't opt out, especially with the state of like the NBA's money right now.
Yeah, it's $12 million. So
Already.
I mean, it obviously depends on how he plays. He could easily increase the potential of his next contract's total earnings, but depending on how things go with this Orlando bubble and everything else, I don't know. And you have Victor Oladipo not playing for the Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon tested positive for COVID.
Dude, I don't know if the Pacers are going to survive without Oladipo.
And Brogdon. Brogdon was a big reason why.
Is Brogdon not going to play for sure?
Well, not for sure, but he tested positive recently. I think the most recent test was a 7% positivity rate. Amongst players, it was 25 out of...
Seriously, I think they should just
25 out of 351.
They should honestly just not do the Orlando bubble and just restart next season.
I think it's going to get shut down after like 2 days.
Yeah, I think
as of right now, looking at how things are going with the numbers.
Well, theirs aren't going good. Like they're like the MLB, like for a comparison, they had a 1.2% positivity rate. Like the NBA is at 7%. That's way higher. I guess we'll see what happens.
It's going to be interesting to see. Like, I'm happy to have basketball back. Obviously, I want to see it, but at the same time, if it's going to just shut down after 2 days, put players at risk.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even worth it if that's what's going to happen.
Especially if a lot of stars can't play, that kind of like hurts the legitimacy of the season.
Why would people want to watch?
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it's just going to be a bunch of G Leaguers. It's going to be the summer league, basically.
The only way that the star players would play in the bubble was if they made it to playoffs, because I don't see star players playing in meaningless games. So
yeah, it's stupid. They're meaningless games, and why would they put their whole heart out there on the court for meaningless games?
Well, the Orlando bubble technically has meaning. They're still fighting for a championship, but if they just decided, we're just going to play some random games, like.
But there's literally just going to be an asterisk next to their name because they didn't even get to finish the regular season.
Well, I've heard some players talk about how, this season obviously is going to have an asterisk next to it because of the COVID circumstances, but more of a positive one because with a 3-month break, that's going to make it so much harder to win a championship.
Yeah, it's like you won the championship during COVID. It's like you're the COVID champs in a way almost. I guess. It's one way to look at it.
It's going to be interesting. We still really don't know how this is going to go. It's still a few weeks out, and I mean, who knows what things are going to look like by then. So right now, I think it's more just wait and see what happens. Listen to the signs and the numbers that are reported.
Yeah, just stay posted on it.
Assuming it doesn't get canceled within the next few weeks before it actually starts, we are planning on doing an NBA playoff prediction episode. Trying to figure out who actually is going to make the finals and win it in this crazy NBA season.
It's going to be an interesting episode.
So that will be coming within the next couple weeks. That's our plan.
Yeah. So
those were our thoughts on some NFL news and the NBA restart as of what we know right now. If you like this podcast, feel free to like it, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on the social medias we listed at the beginning of this podcast. Once again, the Three Sportsmen is a weekly podcast, so be sure to tune in next week. And remember, trust the podcast.